Hi, could you please introduce yourself and the role that you play in your organization?
Sure thing, Kanchan. So my name is Ethan McCarthy, and I look after global digital and social web strategy for IBM.
Okay. So at Tech, from your session, if there were three key takeaways for the audience, what would you like to share with them?
From my session?
Yes.
Or from what I observed elsewhere? From my session.
It could be from what you observed elsewhere as well.
Well, from my session, one of the key messages from my session would be that the organization's values and an individual's values are in play in a new way in social media compared to how they've ever been before. And that seems like kind of a unrelated topic, the values of an organization or the values of a person, but to social media strategy. But in fact, if you really want to achieve virality in social media engagement, you need to have a connection, a really emotional connection, and a really sort of deep connection. And social media, the way people's personas and personalities are being expressed, and the way brands are expressing themselves in social media creates a lot of conflicts and a lot of opportunities. And so the organizations, the brands that are able to help individuals live their values will be the brands that are able to win in social media. Yeah.
Your take on brands being producers of their own content in terms of videos and the social media market, social media space, and how do you foresee the trends?
Sure. Well, I think at this point, it's pretty clear that every company is a media company. It's unavoidable at this point. And if you want to, if there's no longer, the battle is no longer for an audience. You can't really even buy an audience anymore. It's really all about winning with engagement. And videos are very engaging. It's just about as deep an engagement as you can get when it comes to media. So should brands be creating videos? I guess superficially you can say yeah, but it's more important what you're saying than how you're saying it. So you can find really, really great content coming from brands, but I think the best content, the best social video content tends to be the kind of content that reflects what the company is doing in a special way and who the company is. And that's the kind of content that's gonna kind of break through. Simply taking your advertising and putting it on YouTube, or a commercial and putting it on YouTube, that doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't do it just to do it. You really need to find a way to break through. And I think the way to do that is to create content that's really fit for the purpose.
Okay, so you're saying there has to be a sense of originality in it.
Yeah, and it doesn't even, originality is one thing. It doesn't even have to be all that polished. I've seen, in fact, one of the videos that I showed during my presentation is a spot fixing video where some IBMers took time out of their day to go and clean up in front of a senior citizen's home. And in 2 weeks, it got 175,000 views and tons of comments and engagement.
Because the act as such was
exactly. There was a integration of the company's spirit and the employee's spirit that really came through. And this video was shot on people, as far as I understand, it was shot on people's iPhones or whatever, and they edited it that night at home with the help of this organization that they were doing the spot, this cleanup with. So it wasn't overly produced. We didn't fly in Steven Spielberg to produce the video, and we got this amazing result. And I think it's because there was a real connection, a real emotional connection. And what that does for the IBM brand. I mean, IBM is an increasing presence we've been in India for a long time, but we're an increasing presence in more places in India, and this helps, this kind of video helps people understand what kind of people IBMers are. And you want to engage, you want to work with a company like IBM that, has people like that. You want to work for a company that has people who want to do this kind of thing. You want to partner with a company that has people who want to spend their time doing this.
Somebody else actually mentioned that in their key takeaways from AdTech. They said, they spoke of the same story, and they said, see, the act is more important, and They just had to be social and, you know, be in the situation, and everybody else did.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that really, I mean, I've been at IBM for 11 years. It's a company that's, you know, that I feel very personally affiliated with. One of the things that really stood out to me in that video is it says at the end, "Thank you, IBMers." And I think that's really what it's all about. I mean, social media, I think, oftentimes marketing and communications people sort of overemphasize the media, and they forget that social is about the people who are involved. And you know, so you know, your question about like should a brand make a video or distribute videos or not, I think it's a good question. But I think we want to focus on like why, and you know, why would we do that? Well, it's to create the interactions around the content, as opposed to thinking of the distribution of the content as the, you know, as the sort of apotheosis, or of the, you know, that's not the reason we do it.
Final, yeah.
Yeah, the dissemination of the content is not the point in social media. It's the interactions around it.
Right. Thank you so much.
It's really my pleasure.
It was great talking to you. Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure.